Good morning, folks. This is Waylon. Belatedly, I put up another video, but the Wi-Fi didn't work. So for those of you tuning in from YouTube, where we have almost 5 million viewers, which is super cool, I do a daily live video on behalf of Elephant Journal and on behalf of you. Hopefully, it's of some small benefit every day, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. MST. So today I thought, I had a lot of ideas actually for subjects. I thought I could talk about how to write a book. If you're just tuning in, please say where you're from and if you have any questions. And you could ask a question because I thought I might leave the topic up to you guys. I thought that would be kind of fun. We've done that a few times. People suggested topics or questions or struggles in their life or questions about Buddhism or mindfulness in their life or meditation. And it's always turned into something far more powerful than what I can kind of propose. We've had some really touching talks about people's lives. So then I also thought I could also just talk about a mindful practice of gratitude that you can do, that I can do, that anyone can do relatively instantly, once a day, once a month, once a year, at any time. But I also thought writing a book might be cool. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Let me know. You're not happy about being in Atlanta, Susan? Tell us more. Leslie, hello, how you doing? Thank you for coming back. Colin, yeah, just say where you're from and if you have a particular subject on your mind. If not, I can just jump in. So I guess I'll jump in. Zach from Boise. In a moment, but I'm going to give you a moment. Think about it. What's going on in your life, good or bad? I just read a beautiful, I think Kat is our editor today. I'm not sure. I just read a beautiful thing from Kat on Facebook. And, you know, it's pretty powerful. And sometimes when I read things like that, often when I read powerful, beautiful, touching things on Facebook, I wonder why we have Elephant, because it seems like Facebook is just so much easier for people to share. Is there a need for articles? Is there a need for resources like what we're trying to come up with every day? Sure, there's some small need, but it seems a little bit redundant at this point. So on a positive level for Elephant, Tyler, that's a great question. On a positive level for Elephant, we're working on creating our own ecosystem because basically, as we know in America, as we know in capitalism, if any one company is too big and too powerful, then they get to kind of set the rules, and those rules may not be what's best for democracy or what's best for fairness or what's best for the little guy or the little lady. They may be what's best for the corporation. So we're creating our own internal ecosystem, but that's going to be coming around in January. And then at that point, you guys will be able to support writers you love and write instantly in the way that Kat just did on Facebook. So that's kind of exciting. Rochelle, thank you. It's only because I just got out of my hot tub and I'm I'm actually pretty exhausted. But all right, couple questions. Susan, searching for a new place to call home with more mindfulness in the community. Well, one thing I'm super excited about is urban, new urbanism or co-housing. So I honestly, if I were probably going to move, I would probably search for co-housing or new urbanism communities in the U.S. and trying to find that. There's a kind of richness that money can't buy that's provided by communities that actually, and they could be old communities as well, established, that care for one another, where the children are all kind of cared for by the town and they're safe because everyone's outside. They're not all, you know, playing video games or watching TV. Nothing wrong with that. But Phoenix is getting cooler. Yeah, it's getting really cool here. All right. Bend, Oregon. Danielle, I was thinking of moving to Bend, actually. Tyler, so wasn't the original Buddha a crybaby rebelling against his rich father? Well, I'm not sure if you mean that humorously or seriously. I'm going to assume neither because I have no idea. But if you mean it seriously, I think you're a bit of a jerk because we're all crybabies. We all have rough lives. We all have our own struggles. Basically, the Buddha was a prisoner. He was brought up in a prison or in a palace. It's kind of like Cinderella or one of those legends. And he was never allowed to leave, and he was never allowed to have friends, and he was never allowed to have lovers, and he was never allowed to leave. I mean, how would you like to live in the nicest palace but never be able to leave? He wasn't able to know about people dying. He wasn't able to know about people getting sick. He wasn't able to hang out with middle class or lower class. He was just in his little gold cage. And so, yeah, I mean, I would say I'm a crybaby. You're a crybaby. We all are unhappy at various points with the lot that we have been given. And instead of using his wealth to, say, exploit the poor and keep colored folks out, as some other rich folks have done, he escaped in the dead of night, leaving his family, which was, I'm sure, painful and regrettable. And he looked for the truth. He found a sick person. He found an old person. He found that dying existed. He had never even been allowed to know that because of his overprotective father. So at some point, he just looked for truth. And I think that's worthwhile. It's not an abstract thing. We're all looking to be genuine and happy. You're asking a very perceptive and genuine question, like cutting through a lot of mythological BS. So we're all looking for the truth, and we're all looking to be genuine and people who hopefully can be kind in our community. So I don't mind the question. It's a great question. I just think you could phrase it more in a kinder way, or if it's funny, then awesome. I agree. We can make fun of the Buddha all day long. All right. Laura Garcia. I have one of my best friends is named Laura in Northern California, Bay Area, and very happy about that. Awesome. Karen, Ocala, Florida. Robin, PNW. I'm jealous. Also feel like just moving to all of the PNW all the time. Danielle. Thank you. Wow, it's rare to get any kind of compliment on the internets. It's very rare. The internet is a very speedy, weird place sometimes. Yeah, Leslie, I love your comment or subject, feeling frustrated with the rat race routine. So I'll talk briefly about the notion of gratitude. So gratitude is a kind of sweet thing. We expect it to be on Hallmark cards, blah, 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 blah. We all hear about how great it is all the time. But what's the problem with gratitude? The problem with gratitude is that most of us don't really engage in it, because it's just this sort of Valentine's Day kind of thing. It's just sickly sweet, and we don't do it. So I'm going to propose a kind of gratitude that is actually really fun. So there's a friend of mine, Dave, who works with Elephant, who just got married to an amazing, powerful, fun, smoking hot lady, Bod, from Israel. And you know, Dave has been a good friend of mine for many years, and he has always wanted to fall in love and to be in a genuine relationship and possibly to have a family and all that. He's also wanted to have a fulfilling job. I have to leave, and you have to comment, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry, I was making coffee. So we have many sponsors here at these very popular, I have no idea why they're popular, but we have tens of thousands of people tune in the first couple hours. But we have many sponsors. One of them is Sunbasket, who is the most eco-sustainable organic meal delivery service where you can cook, you can learn to cook if you're not a good cook. This can be your way to figure out how to cook for a date or for yourself. So you can put the Sunbasket in the link, please, Kat. And you can get 3 free meals, I think, if you sign up for something or other. I haven't done it, so you need to check it out. Let me know if it's a good deal. But our true sponsor, who has never given us any money, which is okay, but they make this entire show possible, is Kicking Horse Coffee. So if you're a coffee fan, give Kicking Horse, check them out, you know. They're fair trade, which is rare. They're organic, shade grown, which means they're not destroying the rainforest canopy. And you'll be happy to know they are so good. I'm so into it. So if you love coffee, check out Kicking Horse. I'm going to check out Kicking Horse right now. Good morning. So I wanted to talk about Dave as an example for all of us. So he's finally married. He has a fulfilling job that he's obsessed with, that he works really hard at and succeeds at, and is training people and seeing those people grow and flourish. And he, when he's healthy, he's got some injuries, but when he's healthy, he's able to exercise and do the sports that he loves. And he lives in a safe town, and he has a bike, and he has a good office, and he has some good friends, and he has his wife. So I just felt this morning like texting him. He just left for his sister's birthday, 50th birthday. And I just felt like texting him and saying, you know, take a moment, best friend, and really feel how good things are right now. Life is up and down. And even when it's up, as we just talked about with the Buddha, in superficial ways, even if your life is together, you may be miserable. And Dave, his life is really sweet right now. And, you know, he's a guy who cries at the drop of a hat. He's a very grateful person. But I think appreciating our lives, just sitting down, taking 10 seconds and saying, these are things that are really good about my life, really sweet, that I'm really grateful for. My mom, my home, my dog, Redford, who's somewhere around here, my coffee, whatever it is, my safe streets. And if you don't have those things, gratitude is almost doubly powerful, because we have to be grateful. Gratitude is kind of unconditional, and we have to exercise our gratitude no matter what situation we're in. We almost have to do it more if we're super broke, or if we're really miserable. We have to exert ourselves to feel grateful for our reality. And none of that is to say that we can't acknowledge our tough reality if we're in a tough situation, and that we can't work to better it. But just appreciating who we are, where we're at. You know, my grandma is not healthy at all, and she's old. She's 93. And there's still some sense of love and gratitude around her, that she's had this really rich life. And I don't mean in terms of money. I mean in terms of, you know, she has a loving daughter and son and another son and grandson. And anyway, I don't know if any of that makes sense, but just taking a moment to really feel it. I don't think this is particularly Buddhist, but I think it's really just, you sit down, you look at your life, and you take a moment to think about it. And the sort of Buddhist notion here is that you could also be, that we almost doubly have to be grateful for anything that is difficult, anything that is challenging, anything that is unhealthy, anything that is unhappy. We can be grateful for the challenges in our life as well, for the obstacles, for the problems. And then we can find our ego, which is constantly fighting what we don't want, kind of unclench and relax. And we can find our ego, which is constantly clenching and clinging to what we do want, relax. And that is something else that we can be grateful for, is the effect of gratitude. So I'm sure this is not news to anyone. Everyone does this regularly, but it's just a reminder, because I, for one, forget to be grateful. And gosh, I mean, I've worked my butt off for so many years. I've been broke for 80-90% of my life, but I'm so grateful to be where I am and to be who I am. For all, you know, I mean, if I can be grateful for who I am, it should be easy for you. I'm grateful for my mother, and I'm grateful for you all in our community, and trying, you know, today I got to wake up very tired and say, what can we talk about? What can we highlight? How can we help the world today? And I think if you can wake up with that kind of attitude, I'm lucky enough to have a job that, while it's a lot of work, that's literally my job, is to figure out how to be helpful. We're an independent company, so our job is not to exploit the world or to mess stuff up and make money off of that. So if, on that note, if you want to support Elephant for free, you get our newsletter, and Kat can put that. That's by far our best content, our best articles, our best videos. Facebook, honestly, we share stuff to Facebook all the time, and most of it doesn't work anymore because they've squeezed the organic reach so much that really only viral or sexy stuff gets out. All of our best articles, I think very few of them get real views. So we put those best articles in our online magazine, the newsletter. So Leslie, for you, feeling frustrated with the rat race routine. The rat race, there's a speed, there's a subtle aggression to it, trying to keep up with the Joneses or trying to keep up with your life and your appointments and feeling like your life is running you instead of that you are approaching your life in a mindful, spacious way. So gratitude can be very helpful for that. Take a deep breath, look around you, and allow yourself to feel your life, that you're alive. So hopefully that wasn't too boring, or I know it was rather ineloquent, but I tried. All right, I'm looking through your questions here. Northern Kentucky, Tina, hello. I don't know if we've had Kentucky before. You'll find myself become more and more engaging as the coffee seeps in. Minnesota, how to communicate, this is from Alyssa, how to communicate with people who don't want to communicate regarding co-parenting. Well, that's a tough one, because my first advice would be to just give them space and let them be themselves, and they can be neurotic or weird or whatever and just let go. But that doesn't really work, does it? If you're co-parenting, you have to say, okay, I'm picking up Sally or Joey or whatever it is at 5 p.m. and make sure to feed them whatever, and they need this, and you have to coordinate your lives. So that's tough, right? I think the basic helpful thing would be to remember that at some point you had love or affection as a foundation for your relationship, and to just come back to that. And however difficult or entrenched that your habits are now, to just do it for the kids, as the quote goes, just do it for the children, for the child, the baby, your children, whatever your situation is, and just say, look, hurting me or not communicating with me is not going to help our children. So you don't need to be nice to me if you're mad. You don't need to be mean to me. You don't need to be a jerk. You just need to communicate about the basics, and we can keep it at that. And if they have some ongoing resentment, I would just say, you need to kind of, that could be a legal situation where you just basically have very clear boundaries for co-parenting. So others may have better advice, but that would be mine. I know with my father and mother who were divorced, it was very, very difficult. And basically, I don't want to be rude. I love my father, but he just basically didn't show up in my life, and he wasn't there. And in some ways, that was probably easier than what you're going through. So give yourself a pat on the back, pat on the heart, and know that it is difficult. And I think just calling a spade sometimes can be helpful, instead of letting him or her continually get away with resentment and not communicating. I think sometimes just saying, look, I can tell you're angry, you're not communicating with me, would you like to say something? Is there something you want to say? I'm here, I'm listening. And I'm here listening for the sake of our children, or our child, and we want to raise great children, right? So let's do this. All right. But if anyone else has some love or good advice for Alyssa, that would be great. Community. Deep in the woods of New Jersey, living the simple life. I might think you're joking, but my grandma and grandpa used to live near Cranberry, New Jersey, and it's stunning. It's not the picture of New Jersey many of us think of, like, hey, how you doing? How do I manage to look so stunning? I think I look like a beat up cantaloupe this morning, but thank you, Weathering. And my hair's really bothered. I have to look at myself while I do this. It's horrible. Kia, but thank you. I will always accept compliments. Kia, morning, Waylon. Co-housing is an amazing concept. There's a great site, coabode.org, to help single moms find other single moms to share housing with. Oh my God, Kia, Kia, if you have any experience with that, can you please write an article about that resource and put it up on elephantjournal.com/submit? And Kat, maybe you could put that link in the comments. Thank you. Along with Sunbasket, get your 3 free meals and help our video series continue. So thank you to Sunbasket. And thank you to Coffee. All right, Steve from the UK. I wish I could listen to you. I love accents. Oh my God. The American accent is so boring, at least to us. Tyler, human experience creates expansion then. Yeah. Laura, enjoy the live feeds today. My mantra is thank you. Yeah, so just really rest in your life, the good and the bad, and look around and feel it and appreciate it unconditionally. The good and the bad, that's key. Patty, I'm having health issues and saw this about mindfulness. Can you help me with this because I'm pretty hopeless and need to try this? Yeah, so Patty, so basic mindfulness is a meditation practice. And we will do 2 minutes of meditation at the end of this. If you don't want to wait for that, you can go to youtube.com/elephantjournal. Kat, maybe you could put a couple of my meditation instructions in the comments. Meditation is very easy or very simple. It may not be very easy. It's kind of very hard in a way, but it's incredibly simple. So you basically just take a good posture, you find your breath, and you breathe. You do it all with an attitude of for the benefit of others, not just yourself, which is key. And then when you find yourself distracted by your own neurotic thoughts or the kind of habit trail of our mind, you can just notice that and return your attention to the breath. But we will do meditation at the end of this. And if everyone can give Patty some big love and comments and hearts, and let's support one another. Susie, you're in a weird place today, particularly I'm a breath of vast blue sky. Well, thank you. The true breath of vast blue sky is the vast blue sky. So if you have the chance, go outside. I get to look, I'll show you real quick. I get to look at this while I'm talking to you guys. And it's my backyard, and it's just a beautiful, kind of cold, early fall day. There's Redford's bed. He had a good little sleep. So there's nothing better if you just want to change your life right now. If you can make sure that you have a plant or sky or trees or something like that to look at when you first wake up in the morning. They've done scientific studies that show it's better for your mind and for your heart, for your brain waves, for your state of mind, for your state of depression, if you can look at some sort of nature when you first wake up. And I can't tell you how many people's bedrooms, when I go into them, friends of mine, they can't really see a window that is actually there. So position your bed so that you can see out, or that you can see a bunch of plants if you're in an office. Just make sure you have some greenery and sunshine in your life. And if you can't, then you got to kind of fake it and make it up. So get some plants. We have a great article, Kat, if you could put in the comments, 3 essential plants for clean indoor air. That's from a TED Talk. Oh wow, Haroon. Dilshad, please say hi to Kanwal Mukhtar for me. She's a big fan and she's been successful in convincing me to follow all the elephant pages. Oh, by the way, she's an elephant and an apprentice in the current batch too. Well, I got to meet this Kanwal so Elephant, I assume you mean she's a subscriber. So if you subscribe to Elephant, you keep us alive because we're independent media, $1 a month. That is so sweet of her. And she's an apprentice in our academy. So we have an academy where we train you in social media and new media generally, blogging and journalism ethics, as well as a little mindfulness in that. So anyone can join. It's elephantjournal.com/academy. It does cost money. It's super affordable. We have an auditing option, which is even more affordable and self-guided on your own time. Haroon, big love to you, and thank you for following Elephant. And again, if you can get our newsletter, that's far better. Alrighty. I'm back. Carolyn, I made a new rule in my home with my boys that if you say something negative, then you have to say something positive to balance out the vibe. It makes everyone notice when they're dumping bad news a lot, bad vibes a lot. That's great. I love that. Parenting is tough stuff. The other day I was at farmer's market and a bunch of my friends who are parents, because they have their life together as opposed to me, were discussing how to discipline one of their daughters who had been busted, I think for the second time by the cops for drinking. And she's like 15 or something. And I was just standing there just admiring how tough it is to figure that out. Because they're good friends of mine. They're not like parents. We think of parents as authority figures, but these are friends of mine. I know they're just trying to figure it out just like the rest of us. Oh my God, Harun, you could hear me. That's so funny. People who are mindful are like white blood cells. I like that. I think. Tyler. All right, Rochelle. I've seen Kicking Horse at my natural grocery store. Yeah, it's so good. There's been a big fascination with, what do you call it? Light roast. This is dark. It's smooth. It's rich. Well, as they say, it's sweet, smoky, and audacious. My God, they should be a sponsor because I'm just in love with them. I want a Kicking Horse like stuffed animal that I can sleep with at night. All right. So Kenny, yeah, so I'm vegan. Sunbasket does provide vegan meals. They don't have as many as I like, but I think they have a fair amount. So I've made 2 meals so far, and you know, for me as a bachelor, it really helps me get familiar with cooking and ingredients, and that I can do it. I can cook a really nice meal. So it's kind of cool. Doop doop doo. Yeah, you are blessed, Wendy. Tyler, awesome. Yeah, I mean, Buddhism is relatively sensible. There's crazy, nutty, neurotic jerks in Buddhism, just like any other religion or non-religion, any community of any kind. But it is a sensible spiritual practice to the extent that there's that great quote, Kat, I blogged about this, about non-theism, if you can search non-theism, that if Buddhism contradicts science, we'll go with science. That's the quote from the Dalai Lama. That Buddhism isn't supposed to be about, but it can be. It's not supposed to be about dogma or about mythology or kind of BS, basically, spiritual materialism. It's supposed to be about how to be sane, how to be genuine, and how to be of genuine service to the world. It's supposed to be based on experience. Amy Beth, amen. Nothing is harder than, some of us have huge obstacles, and it's not that gratitude, it's not that you're grateful for having obstacles, it's that you have these obstacles. It's choiceless or it's not. Maybe they're workable, which is great, and so you have to, just for your own heart, you have to find a way to have one moment of appreciation for those obstacles. And I don't say that lightly because I'm not a total flaming jerk. I know that they're rough. I've had friends with real obstacles, but we've seen that in so many inspiring people who are somehow truly joyful despite their obstacles, whether they're poverty or living in a war-ravaged, rape-ravaged country, or they have debilitating diseases, mental or physical. So your obstacles you may not have a choice about them, but you do have a choice to exert gratitude in your life. And gratitude is like honey. It'll make everything sweeter, even if the stuff doesn't go away. Yeah, big love. Maybe can everyone give love to Amy Beth? Love and reinforcement, strength to her. And even if it's meaningless, it's technically, it's just online. We're there for you, and if you can feel the love in your mind and your heart, hopefully that can be helpful. Leslie, yeah, you got to find a job that you love. So I've done some videos on Right Livelihood. Maybe you've seen those. Oh my God, so good. So Right Livelihood. Maybe Kat, could you put a couple of those in? So Patty, mindfulness is nothing more than being present. So mindfulness is being present with your coffee. Mindfulness is being present with your obstacles. Mindfulness is being present with your laundry or your dishes. Buddhist teacher of mine, when I was young, I said, what is enlightenment? It seems like this kind of mythological, amazing state of mind that you're supposed to get to, but I don't really know too many people who get there. And he said, enlightenment is when the light turns red and you're driving and you stop the car. Enlightenment is just seeing the phenomenal world, being present with it, and reacting based on that. So it's kind of like surfing. When you're surfing, you're just reacting to all these little things. And instead of it being complicated, it's actually, once you're practiced, it's super easy. It's like riding a bike. It's like walking. It's like putting a mug to your mouth, swallowing and drinking, and appreciating the color and the taste and the smell the whole time you're doing it. I feel like I'm a commercial for coffee today. So mindful, that's a great question, Patty. And the main thing that mindfulness isn't is it isn't this big deal. It isn't this spiritual big deal. I would recommend, Patty, you read a couple books that are far more helpful than I can be. I wrote a blog called Best Classic Buddhist Books for Beginners. Kat, can you put that in the comments? I would appreciate that. So in there, there's a book that I was reading this morning. I read it every morning. I actually have 2 copies by my bed, or by my couch. Training the Mind, Training the Mind. Actually, I have 3 copies. I have a copy upstairs. So they're great because you can just read a little section. So here's one that goes with today's. Shall I read it? Little reading. Okay. Number 49. Always meditate on whatever provokes resentment. Always meditate on that which is most difficult. If you do not start right away, the moment a difficulty arises, it is very hard to overcome it. So that's common sense, right? But when we get in a fight with a loved one or a colleague, or, you know, the other day, my favorite restaurant, I've joined this CSR where you give them money and then you get a ton of credit in return. They canceled my credit because the credit was only good for a year. So I lost almost $700 from my favorite restaurant, or ex-favorite restaurant, I should say. So that was really a major bummer. And they didn't say, oh, here, have an extra month. You're a big fan. We love you. It's an innocent confusion, whatever. They just said, you're SOL. And I tried to talk to them twice, and they haven't even responded, except in comments on Facebook. So that's a bummer. So that thing affects your mind. So instead of letting that, they're wrong, I'm right. Well, actually, they're half right, and I'm half wrong. Actually, I'm wrong. Maybe they're right. Having this whole neurotic thing go on for days. You know how long music can be stuck in your head. Well, it's the same with an argument or any kind of neurosis. So instead of that, you sit down and you practice mindfulness meditation, which we'll do at the end. All right, want to hear one more? This is from Trungpa Rinpoche, Training the Mind and Cultivating Loving Kindness. Loving kindness is like Maitri. Kat, could you put a blog in, maybe my interview with Sharon Salzberg in the comments? She's kind of the expert in the U.S. on loving kindness. All right. Don't be swayed by external circumstances, number 50. Although your external circumstances may vary, good job, bad job, whatever, your practice should not be dependent on that. Your meditation, your mindfulness practice should not be dependent on that. Whether you are sick or well, rich or poor, have a good reputation or a bad reputation, you should practice Lojong, mind training. It is very simple. If your situation is right, breathe that out. Give it out. Give it away now, as the Red Hot Chili Peppers would say. If your situation is wrong, breathe that in. So that's counter to a lot of the new agey, yoga-y gobbledygook that I think Tyler was referring to, which is to, positivity. You just want to cling to anything positive and push away anything negative and toxic. And while that sounds common sense, it's actually horrible. What happens is you wind up pushing away anything negative. Anything negative could be homeless people, sick people, elderly people. It could be your own feelings, your own dislike for yourself, your own wanting to be in better shape. That kind of pushing away negativity can be incredibly unkind. It's what I call gated community spirituality. I'm actually writing a book about it right now. It's titled Self Help is Bad for You. And it's a Facebook page if you want to fan it, or put it in comments, Kat, if you like. And then positivity is also really bad for you. You're clinging to the good stuff. So anyone who's been in love, have all of you been in love? Give it a like or a comment or say something if you have. If you've been in love, as you know, if you cling to that love, you're going to destroy it. It's like you're killing the golden goose. So you have to enjoy love, enjoy the goodness, but let it keep going. Give it back. Give it back to your loved one. Give it back to the world. Give it back to your job. Give it back to your so-called toxic enemies. So when you reverse the flow of ego, which is to push away bad and cling to good, and you can actually let good flow, and you can kind of sit on the bad in the sense of like owning it. You can say, there's a hot potato of blame, we're pushing back and forth, and it just gets bigger and bigger until blame is all you can see. We've all had that experience in a relationship or at work. Instead, you can just say, hey, my bad. And the funny thing that happens at that point is the other person relaxes, and they know it's not all your bad. And if they're a decent person, they'll be like, no, it's my bad too. But you have to, the trick is you have to mean it, kind of, You don't really have to completely mean it, but you have to actually say, my bad. It can't just be something you say. You have to feel it. All right. Tyler, I wish it was more popular to care for humans and life. Yeah, I think it is getting more popular in some ways. I mean, we've had less wars, and it's not all bad news. I think we can applaud ourselves for progress in some ways. Women's rights, GLBTQ rights. There's been some advances. We have far to go, of course. Civil rights, but it really, I mean, if you think only 150 years ago or whatever, slavery was like just as legal as it is to go to your local hardware store and buy a hammer, So hopefully we're making steps forward, but now we have the prison system and the problems with that. I just put up a blog about, if you search very recent blogs about prison, something like that, cat, you could find it. It was a really beautiful and funny video about this comedian who goes into a prison, kind of like Johnny Cash went into Folsom prison and sang for the inmates. This comedian goes in and does his comedy routine. It's actually not a routine, it's kind of just live and spontaneous. Anyway, it's amazing viewing. You should watch it tonight. So good. Kat, maybe you can find that. Yeah, what Annalise said, for co-parenting, if it gets too tough, there are mediators, hopefully. Yeah, Tim, it's hard to find work-life balance. I've talked about that. I've written a blog, Kat, maybe you could put in the comments, called Balance is Overrated. So work-life balance kind of doesn't exist, and you should stop being hard on yourself thinking that you need to have it. So just be nice to yourself and let go of work-life balance. The part of work-life balance that you should keep is that you have to take care of yourself. So that's like Maitri, Kat, if you could put that in the comments. Exercise, that kind of thing. Having some social life. So it sounds like I just completely contradicted myself. But what I find is that most of my friends say, I have to be balanced between work and life, relationships, work, blah, blah, blah. But it's more like a balance on a teeter-totter, right? It's always moving. It's always going like this. And as any parent or entrepreneur will tell you, sometimes you're going to be 80% focused on your job, 10% focused on sleeping, and 10% focused on everything else. And other times, it'll be more 50-50. So if it's not 50-50, that's okay, and give yourself a break. Don't use work-life balance to give yourself a hard time, your lack of work-life balance. Alrighty, Kate from Wales. Can I come visit? I'm part Welsh. I'm totally serious. And write some stuff, if you like. And also, if we got married, which is probably inappropriate because you're married or you're older, and we named our first son after me, Waylon II, but I took your name because I'm a feminist, our child's name would be Waylon Jennings. I'm just saying. I think that's a good enough reason to get married right there. Tim, I'm in Burnsville, North Carolina. Nice. Tell me about Burnsville. Oops. Tyler, I've always had the biggest heart. For the past few years, I feel I have no heart. What is one to do when you perceive everyone as doomed? Well, Tyler, I love that question. You're on a roll today. So one of my idols, Yvon Chouinard, founder of Patagonia, really helped me out in life, because if you look at various obstacles in the world, like climate change or like humans being inhuman to humans, you can get pretty depressed, and nothing's wrong with that, because you're actually just feeling and seeing what's going on. I mean, you should look at what's going on in the world, and if you don't react with heartbreak, something's wrong with your heart. So I think you do have a heart. I think you probably just at some point get numb to the sadness, almost out of shock or self-preservation. But Yvon Chouinard said, the whole world is doomed. If you look at climate change, if you look at whatever, we're effed. Nevertheless, I wake up every morning, and with joy and with hard work, I apply myself to help, because that's all you can do. And I love that quote. I first read that maybe 10 years ago, because there's some powerful thing about it. Like, okay, maybe we're all going down with a ship, but we can still be kind, and we can still be good, and we can still do great stuff. And who knows, maybe the ship will get rescued. It'll just be a different kind of ship. You know, it won't be a cruise ship. It'll be a big raft. Who knows? So, beautiful question. And Tyler, if you can read about Tonglen and practice it, you will find your heart again. And it goes with that kind of sitting on the negative and continuing to give away the good thing I was just talking about, reversing the flow of ego. It's called Tonglen. And maybe Kat could put that in the comments, if Kat isn't sick of my blog recommendations. Amy English with a beautiful quote that everyone should read. Should I just read it? There cannot be a sense of abundance or experience of prosperity without appreciation. You cannot find beauty unless you appreciate beauty. You cannot find friendship unless you appreciate others. You cannot find love unless you appreciate loving and being loved. If you wish abundance, appreciate life. William R. Miller. Amy, thank you. You won today, and you get a free smooch. You may not have wanted to win today. I need some lipstick or lip gloss. Maybe lipstick. Bring a little color to my tired face. I'm so tired. I love that quote. I'm probably going to get that tattooed on my back. It'll be a big, long tattoo, but I love it. The Southern accent is the worst. What? Susan, I have a friend from Georgia, and her voice is like listening to honey. I just want to curl up and spoon with her voice. It's just a comforter. It's a hand-knit comforter for the soul. I don't even know what I'm saying, and I can't do her accent, but I love it. That's my favorite compliment of the day, Jill. Thank you. I look fine, not the least bit cantaloupe-y. Sarah, good for you. Oh, you want advice on that? Kat, you can probably put like 5 blogs in there with good advice for breaking free from a narcissist in a calm, mindful way. But Sarah, I will give you some of my advice. So I'm not going to talk about people in my life, but I might have dated a narcissist. So first of all, we're all narcissists, right? You're a narcissist, I'm a narcissist. The whole world revolves around all of us. But most of us try to recognize that it doesn't actually revolve around us, that there's the sky, that there's other people's feelings, that there's my dog who's asleep. People want to see Redford real quick? You're probably sick to death of me. Boy. So we can break free from a narcissist. Oh, first of all, by recognizing that we're all narcissistic a bit, and I can't pet Redford and talk at the same time. We're big multitaskers here at Alpha. All right. So my Buddhist mentor, Frank Berliner, who also writes for Elephant Cat, maybe you could put a blog by Frank in the comments. He's an amazing writer. My Buddhist mentor, Frank, said, the only way you can kind of separate yourself from a narcissist is not to be mean to them, say, hey, get away from me. Not to be nice to them and say, hey, let's just be friends, it'll be cool. Because they'll take advantage of the niceness, and the meanness will just be more drama, which they enjoy, weirdly, because it makes them feel real, or us real. And again, we're all narcissists, and big love to any narcissists out there. You don't get much love that you actually feel, which is sad. So you just have to kind of offer them boredom. So Frank Berliner said, the only thing that works for that kind of person who enjoys negative drama and who clings to any is to offer them nothing, to offer them boredom, not to offer them a mean nothing, just to kind of basically just give them space. Don't give them positive, don't give them negative, just nothing. Just don't reply, just back away. Sort of like step away from the whatever. So step away from the narcissist. Aw, really sweet comment from Alyssa. Thank you so much for your answer. I try that, the whole patience and explaining about the children's happiness, but it hasn't worked. You are right, we on the clear boundaries, something we didn't do well during the divorce. I'm hoping to avoid lawyers, but it is so nice to hear some reassurance. I am doing what I am supposed to be. So grateful for you today. So, Alyssa, I mean, number one, I have no idea about his situation or your situation. I'm just reacting to your questions. So you have to really keep in mind his perspective and try to communicate with that. On the other hand, I do love the mediation suggestions. So there are great mediators or therapists who can engage in this kind of situation. And the lawyer thing is, hopefully last resort, because that can be kind of war in a way. But it's okay if you need to make clear boundaries and that's your last thing. All right. Weathering. You wake up with a view of trees. That's good. Yeah, it's good for the soul. Oh, I love, cherish your comment. Discipline, I think, needs to be recognized as a good thing and not just when something bad happens. So the Buddhist word for discipline is joy. Discipline is joy. Discipline is not willpower. Discipline is not negative. Discipline is saying, you know what? I'm going to go climb today, or I'm going to go for a hike, or I'm going to do my dishes, not because I am a bad person and I need to do those things because I'm bad and I need to be better, but because I enjoy them, and because I enjoy not having dirty dishes, and because I enjoy not being out of shape, and I enjoy processing my stress. So that's just one analogy, but cherish, you right on. Cherish, my daughter and I are vegan. I did give her cheese once to see if it'd be her way, and she looked at me dead straight and spit it out, going, blah, yeah. Yeah, children, including myself, have a real natural inclination to love animals. Maybe because we're reading all these children's books where it's animal characters, or maybe just because we haven't really processed the notion of eating meat, eating other beings for health and pleasure. It's kind of a weird idea. I'm not trying to get all vegan on everyone, but it's a weird notion. And if you're going to do it in a kind of appreciative, sacred way. Hopefully not from the grocery store or a factory farm, but if you're a hunter or, from a small farm that treats their animals pretty well. So, anyway, I don't think we can get into the whole vegan thing today, but I remember when I was a kid and I first learned that bacon and ham, which I loved to death, no pun intended, was from pigs, and I was reading these books that had pig characters. I was horrified. I was like, Mom, what are you doing to me that I'm eating these poor people? And so I went completely vegan, or I don't even think vegan was a thing back then. It was like 1980 probably. And that lasted about a week, and then I ate bacon again. So, but now I'm vegan. Anyway, I think if you're all grown up physically, you don't need meat, whatever. We have lots of good blogs. Maybe Kat could put one of them on vegan transition. It's actually really healthy. If you search vegan transition Elephant Journal, you'll find a lot of recipes and blogs. Cherish, how do you practice your Buddhahood every day? Yeah, so I wake up with meditation. Meditate first thing in the day before doing anything, before I communicate with anyone. So I might go to the bathroom, I might let my dog out, but I'm not going to do anything proactive in the world until I've kind of brought myself back to the present moment. And there's sort of a hangover in a way from sleeping where you're a bit like wow, kind of lost in your wow thoughts, kind of like the old Doctor Who credits or whatever that rolled in the beginning of the show. You're just kind of wow, and then it's good to meditate for a few minutes before you go to sleep. That'll help with insomnia. That'll help with if any of you are stressing out at night or dreaming about work or a tough situation. Meditation can be transformative. Just a couple minutes even. And then dedicate yourself. This is equally important to the benefit of others before and after the meditation, because meditation isn't about me. There is no me in meditation other than the ME that begins the word meditation. All right. Tyler, you're on a roll. You're like 5 for 5. Can you be present with chaos or self-sabotage? So first, chaos. We have no choice. Our lives are chaotic, generally. Even if you're probably like a mountain man in a hut, hunting for your food and gardening, and you don't know anybody, your life is probably chaotic. You're like, I've got to pick my carrots, and I've got to water my things. I've got to get the aphids off the whatever. I've got to go down to the stream and get my water. I got to clear the water. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to cut wood. I got to, read my book by the stream. That's going to be really stressful. I've got to deal with this. I've got to fix my F100. I got to, whatever. I'm sure you could get stressed out about country life as well. So chaos is just a part of being human. So Trungpa Rinpoche has a wonderful quote that says, chaos should be regarded as extremely good news. I love that blog or quote. So yes, you can and must be present with chaos. We're not meditating so that we can be little gurus on a mountaintop. We're meditating so that we can be little gurus running around Times Square or running around our lives and being humorful, having a sense of humor about ourselves, being helpful for other people. I mean, the next time you see someone needing help with a door, with their groceries, whatever, help them out crossing the street. Just be present for your world and your life. And it's amazing. Yesterday I was biking home and there was some situation where a car could go. It must have been a four-way stop. A car could go or I could go. And I was kind of first by a couple seconds. So really I should have gone, right? But I could tell they kind of wanted to go. Just let them go. You're giving the world one little moment of relaxation or slowing down. In this speedy, chaotic, busy, aggressive world, you're introducing a little moment of space. And that doesn't mean you have to be a wimp in your whole life, but it does mean that you can be strong and relaxed and confident enough to give. What is Panda? What is all this discussion about Panda? I don't know what we're talking about. I'm behind. Self-sabotage, though, Tyler. We all kind of do that. Self-sabotage is often a reaction against negative discipline. So we say, I want to lose 5 pounds. And you kind of starve yourself. And then suddenly you're binging on Ben & Jerry's vegan ice cream at 2 a.m. So often we self-sabotage mean discipline because mean discipline is mean. It's not cool. So our inner teenager is going to rebel against that. That'll always happen. So discipline has to be joy. It has to be something kind of productive and fun. Alrighty. I hope that was helpful. I thought that was crazy helpful. That was the best thing I've said all day. The rest of it was... All right. There's a lot of comments. It's cool. I'm going to skip a bunch of comments and try and wrap this up. Great, Kat. Thank you for leaving all those awesome comments. Yeah, we have Alyssa. We have amazing articles on mindful parenting. Probably some of our best articles. We have a great article about meditation and family and how basically you're not going to have time to meditate. Kat is a parent, the editor in the comments. So Kat, if you could leave some articles about mindful parenting. There's some really good ones if you search Buddhism parenting from back in like 2010 or something. That would be great. Leave a bunch. Carolyn, a suggestion for Tyler. Go volunteer anywhere. You feel like you're a part of the solution, and the people that volunteer are such a good influence. The lady that runs a literacy room where I work with is a saint. Yeah, go be a big brother. Oh my God. You never feel like a cooler human being, like a nicer... You never feel more like yourself than when you're a big brother. You're helping out some kids. Literacy room. So inspiring even in the face of overwhelmingly bad odds. Your talents are needed. Yeah. So locally, there's this group called Attention Homes, and half of the Boulder yuppies are up in arms against them trying to expand. Attention Homes wants to help homeless children with substance abuse issues who are on their way to having disastrous, unfun lives for everyone around them, including themselves. And they help these kids get their lives together, get clean, have a home, not resort to, selling their body for money or, drugs, wiping them out. And instead of investing in that whole sad, horrible world, they can invest in having the life that they want to have. And yet people are against that in Boulder. Boulder people can be so weird. Attention Homes is literally from a Republican point of view, you're taking a kind of degraded problem and you're making it better. You're giving these people a chance to be productive members of society. From a liberal point of view, you are, it's compassion, it's empathy, it's just a win-win-win. Attention Homes, check them out. I love them. All right. What's on my neck? I don't know what we're talking about. The panda? Why are we talking about pandas? I'm so confused. You guys have your own conversations going. It's kind of awesome. Annalie is so cool. Annalie, I would love to invite you to write elephantjournal.com/submit. You could ask for Kat, who's the editor, in the comments. Annalie's comment, as a future social worker, I'd also like to mention that in some cases when narcissist has a temper they cannot handle, it might be a good idea to get a place of one's own without towing and then just leave. Sounds bad, but there can be some danger in there also. Oh, completely. Yeah, I mean, all of us can lose our tempers and be jerks. I've definitely done it. And I did a video on anger management and on domestic abuse that maybe Kat, you could put in the comments. So working with anger and also protecting yourself from another person's anger are both vital. Michelle from Brussels, Belgium. Super cool. You want to know my opinion about the purpose in life of being an extra emotional person? Well, we're all extra emotional. That's the good news and the bad news. Some of us repress our emotions, but they're still there. Some of us fly with our emotions like kites in the wind, and then we really feel them more. So you're talking about feeling them more, being aware of them. In some ways, that's a great advantage you have over those of us who might suppress our emotions, because we're bottling it up so that we can have heart attacks or just be angry our whole lives. You're actually feeling them. But the key is not, from a Buddhist point of view, emotions aren't any more real than coffee or a magazine, the New Yorker, or a mug. All things are what they are, but they also will fall apart. They'll go away. They'll run out. You have to get a new New Yorker in 1 week. You have to get another thing of coffee. A mug can be broken and go back to being earth. Everything's impermanent. So there's this great talk, maybe Kat, you could Google it, called Your Emotions Are Not VIPs by Trungpa. So don't treat your emotions as this sort of like wonderful, amazing, powerful thing. Just treat them like crazy 4-year-olds who have had too much sugar or have had a bunch of fun running around the house with a bunch of friends, but you can tell they're getting tired and they're about to cry. They're about to run into something and then cry. So emotions are just children who you love, and you can take care of them, but you also don't have to take them too seriously. You can give them a little bit of joyful discipline, and you can engage in mindfulness with them so that they don't run your life, so that you run your household, you run your life. So my teacher, Sakyang Mipam, maybe Kat, you could put a video with my, and ladies or guys, he's very cute, Sakyang Mipam. He'll talk a lot about how you need to be able to use your mind or heart as a tool to live life well, instead of being used by your mind, by the speed of your mind, right? Sakyang Mipam. Douglas, hey, haven't seen you for a little while. Awesome to hear from you. Jill, I hope Oh my God, that is Jill's mission in life, is to reach for the cookies on top of the fridge. Annie, hello to your cat. I should get the dog over. He loves cats. Hey, Redford. Come here, Bo. He's kind of sleeping. Ready? Hey. Come here, Bo. What is that? Come here. I'm resorting to tricking him into thinking I have a treat. Redford, come on. Come on, Sleepy. He's fully asleep. Julie, thank you. I'm grateful for you tuning in. All right, is anyone still here? Cherish. I found Buddhism in South Dakota living with my right-winged fox-watching grandma. Whew. It's terrifying transitioning from standing up for my newfound way of life, but it's so worth it. Good for you, Cherish. Do. Yay, Annalie. I'm so excited. Laura. Yeah, please do write. Any of you. Ooh, that is literally the best way I've ever heard someone explain emotions. My mom used to always just say, stop being so sensitive. Yeah, that's kind of just rude. My whole childhood I was told to stop being so loud and stop being so bold and stop being so dorky and stop being so big and stop being so, it's just kind of, young idiot. And it's not helpful to be told to shut up. It's helpful to be told, hey, so what you're doing could be irritating. I, however, really love you, and here's how you can work with your amazing energy. I was basically like a dog back then. I needed tons of exercise. I needed to be tired. I just was full of energy. I'm probably still the same way. All right, I think I finally got to the bottom of the comments. So, do people want to meditate? If so, give it a little like or something. I know this has been long today, but so many comments. So you can take a good posture. Deep breath in and out. Find your breath. Maybe for the first time today, consciously breathe in and out. We'll begin with a bow of mutual respect and our inspiration to be a benefit to the world. So let's bow to one another. There's a little gong from the neighborhood contractor. Find your breath in and out. It doesn't have to be a fancy breath, a spiritual breath. Just breathe in and out. If you find yourself distracted thinking, just say, I'm thinking, label it thinking, and return your attention to your breath in and out. Thinking. Okay, we could all bow to one another with thanks. I'll see you tomorrow. We do these every 11 a.m. MST or thereabouts, sometimes earlier, sometimes later. And you can get all the videos, including much shorter ones. We have a ton of 3-5-minute videos that are more beautifully produced at youtube.com/elephantjournal. You can subscribe there if you want them, and it's all free. And you can also get our latest, greatest on our front page, elephantjournal.com, under Walk the Talk Show. I've interviewed Deepak Chopra and Bill McKibben, Michael Pollan, Ariana Huffington, blah, 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 Alice Walker. Great people. You can check out all my interviews with them. Thank you so much. And check out those 3 free meals. Hopefully they are actually free from Sunbasket. support our sponsors, and we will stick around. Thank you, everyone. Great comments today. Maybe the best ever. Alrighty.